All right, we're waiting just one more minute. Oops. Yep. All right, we're going to get started. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll take a moment of silence for those in harm's way and all of our armed forces. All right, thank you. All right. Statement of advance notice. The notice of requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey has been satisfied by the inclusion of the date, time, and place of this meeting in the notice of regular meetings adopted by this board on January 8th, 2024. Such schedule and notice of meetings is posted at the Municipal Building, the Mount Olive Library, the Board of Education offices in 6 schools. Was submitted to the Daily Record publication on January 9th, 2024, and was filed with the Clerk of Mount Olive Township on January 9th, 2024. I direct that this announcement be entered into the minutes of this meeting. And we'll take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Mrs. Fenton?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez? Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Strelacci?
Here.
Mrs. Narcisse?
I am here. And we'll take approval of minutes. Ms. Figuera, if you'd like to move items 2.1 and 2.2.
I move to approve items, I make an action to approve items 2.1 to 2.2.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. Do we have any communications or petitions to the board? Superintendent, members of the board, acknowledge any communications or petitions received?
No.
Anyone else? No? Okay, we will move on. And with that, we have some friends and guests here. And we'll go to Superintendent's report, Dr. Banja.
So I'm excited to invite Ms. Jody Bosch up to the microphone, at which time she's going to be celebrating our phenomenal performing arts program here in Mount Olive. Ms. Bosch.
Hello, good evening. Firstly, thank you to the board for having us tonight. We had a great season and we're very excited to share some of our accolades with you. Before we get to the students, I did want to speak out about our amazing administration at the high school. Full support and always by Mr. Kevin Stansberry in the back there, and our great supervisor of the performing arts, Ms. Melanie McCaney, and of course, Ms. Christine Nelson, who's our biggest fan of the high school for sure. I'm too close. See, I don't normally talk in the microphone.
You're doing great.
Okay. Also, our outstanding staff for our grade 6 through 12 for our drama department, Mr. Christopher Bosch, director of the Fall Show and the Middle School Musical, Rick Lancy, our choreographer, Beth Budd, our choreographer, Tyler Backer, our tech director, Andrew Loader, our lighting designer, our music director and pit orchestra, Matt Vanzini, our fall music pit orchestra, Mr. Darrell Hendricks, our costumes, Mary Ann Hannon, our rock director this year, Mr. Stephen Thompson, and our stage crew advisor, Miss Bethany Francillo. Also to thank our amazing family, and friends that are here. Our families are great for Drama Club. They support us for everything, and we have a newly formed LLC, Drama Marauders Booster Club, starting up this summer, so we're excited about that. And our students. We definitely have the best students around. We had a stellar season in the fall. We had our 20th season that Mr. Bosch and I have been running the club, and we did a look back at all 20 seasons. We had 25 alumni involved in the production and writing bios and coming to see the production along with our current students. In the fall, we did White Christmas, and in the spring, as you know, we did Rock of Ages, which was very successful this year. So, we'll get to some of our accolades for this year. Yes? Firstly, we went to the Teen Arts competition in SCSM, and we have, since you can't come up, there's not enough room, we can stand if I say your name. We had second place, Performance Excellence for Musical Theater. You can come up.
We want you guys to
We want you to come up.
Yes.
We did some directed by Senior Justice Vera, Graduate Justice Vera. He directed musical theater selections from Spring Awakening, and that starred Oliver Kaprowitz, Alexandra McDonald, Marin Masagia, Victoria Morris, Jack Sparcy, Justice Vera, and Lincoln Vera. And we also took first place at the festival performance, directed by Miss Layla Blakey. They performed selections from Rent, and that was Jadalyn Anderson, Layla Blakey, Michael Ferrick, Oliver Kaprowitz, Matthew Karofsky, Alex McDonald, Marin Masagia, Victoria Morris, and Jack Sparcy. And that group also went on and was selected for the State Teen Arts Festival. For the Bucks County Drama Festival, we won 5 awards. We won something called the Scene Stealer Award for both of his roles in stealing the scenes for White Christmas and Rock of Ages, and that was Trevor Treadway. We won the Make 'em Laugh Award for his comedic role in Rock of Ages, Davy Arroyo. We won the Show Must Go On for White Christmas because during the performance, the music stopped, and the two on the spot had to make up performance until the music got working again. So that was Jack Scarcy and Lincoln Vera. Our winner for Vocal Powerhouse for White Christmas and Rock of Ages, because she truly does, that's Sarah Hune. Winner for the Best Love Power Ballad and my personal favorite scene probably in 20 years from Rock of Ages, Jack Scarcy and Oliver Kaprowitz. At the Paper Mill Playhouse Rising Star Awards, we've been entering this competition since 2007, and every year we get 1 or 2 nominations, but this year we made the big nomination to get into the final presentation for the production. So we had 11 total nominations and 2 honorable mentions, so I'd like to go through those now, and that's for staff and for students. So come on up firstly for honorable mention for Outstanding Costume Achievement for Rock of Ages, Miss Marion Manning. He's not able to be here tonight, but also honorable mention for Outstanding Achievement in Music Direction for Rock of Ages, Mr. Manzini. We entered the Student Achievement Award category, so that's someone selected by the director, and I selected 3 students, and one of them made it to the final round for his work as our ensemble captain. and that's Dylan Kovach. Nomination and outstanding lighting achievement by our very own amazing lighting guy, Andrew Lauder. He's on vacation. Nomination for outstanding performance by orchestra, student-oriented, and we had many members of our Rock and Roll Academy in the pit orchestra on stage and in the pit, and that was for nomination for performance by an orchestra. Nomination for outstanding performance by a featured ensemble member for Rock of Ages, and that was Juno Copen. Nomination for outstanding performer in a male-identified supporting role for his great job as Stacy Jackson, Rock of Ages, Lincoln Vera. And nomination for outstanding performer in a male-identified leading role for his role in Rock of Ages, Jackson Marcy. Jack also received a full paid scholarship to the Summer Conservatory, which is really expensive to get into, for the Paper Mill Playhouse, and that's actually where he is right now. So he earned that. We were a winner in this category, which I'm so proud of. It's called the Rising Star Theater for Everyone Inclusion and Access Award, and that's how our drama department integrates theater for everyone, and we give access to those special needs. And we did that for our Best Plays program. We have members in the cast, crew, and everything that's part of it. So we won that, and Maddie accepted the award for us. And for the first time ever in 20 years, and it was so exciting because we got to go to the event and perform with the other schools. We were the top 7 in the state for being the best shows. So the rest of the cast can come up for outstanding overall production of a musical for Rock of Ages. We will definitely miss our graduates, of course, but next year we have a great season. Hope you can come out. We are doing the prom in the fall. We are doing Grease in the spring, and our middle school show, yet to be announced but has been decided, is going to be a really big, exciting one. So we look forward.
Come on, you gotta
We
do
look-
that.
we're doing it.
I can't. It's Mr. Bosch's show.
Come on, Mr. Bosch.
Everyone.
Here. You gotta take a picture of all that. Get the other stuff. Am I going?
Sure, I have one more award now. Hi, how you doing?
Mr. Stanzer, I get in the picture
I
too.
know, I have one more award.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Who's giving that one? He knows what to do with their hands. He knows what to do. It's like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. All right, who's gonna make the next? Wait, don't go
Wait,
anywhere.
don't move,
guys.
don't move,
We
Avery.
got one more.
So, one of the other awards that was recognized at Paper Mill Rising Stars was that Miss Bosch was named Educator of the Year. So how about a big round?
Thank you.
Good job, everyone.
Okay, just be careful. Yes.
We certainly would like to thank both the staff, the students, and obviously the families for not only coming out tonight, but certainly representing our district so well. You know, one of the things that we are so proud about with our students is that they don't only find the love of their lives in the classroom, they find it beyond the classroom. And as a district, we are so very proud of offering all these programs, and most certainly proud of the commitment that each of you have shown to performing arts and whatever you'd like to do. So a round of applause again for our students.
So before the students leave, do any board members have any questions or comments for our drama club?
I just have to tell you guys, as somebody who has two children who are much younger in the district, middle schooler and elementary school, I don't think you understand. You guys are rock stars in their minds. Like, you are celebrities. The fact that I got to tell my kids you were going to be at the meeting tonight, they're like, you're going to meet them? It's really amazing. And so I appreciate everything you do, obviously, but so much also as that example for our kids who are coming through the program. I really appreciate that from all of you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, Ms. O'Neill.
Absolutely, same as Ms. Fitzgerald said. Also, congratulations, Ms. Bosch. That's amazing. It was great to see the plays, but to hear, all the accolades and all the younger ones are definitely looking at all of you guys.
Anyone else before the phase?
I'm just going to say congratulations. I am so proud of you all. I have never enjoyed any performances more than yours. And the only reason I'm saying is because I know you're probably not going to stay to the end of the show here where we do our comments. So thank you for being awesome. The adults, the kids, you guys, like it's just amazing talent. And I'm just wondering, I saw something today called the Jimmy Awards. Are you familiar with that? Why aren't we doing that? Yeah.
That is only for winners of the local organizations, but Paper Mill doesn't, and we also didn't win in those categories, so those are for the winners of all the regional.
We should have one, all of them. We should be there all the time.
Anyone else on this side for comments? Or did you want to?
I want to comment.
Oh, there you go. Let's go.
Hi everyone. Congratulations to all of you. You are really an example, not only to the younger kids, but to everyone in township. We are so proud of you, and we appreciate so much your effort, as well as the great team that supports you, which is your parents, teachers, friends that drop you off at practice, pick you up from rehearsal. It's an entire town supporting you. So keep always your talent. Don't let anyone to diminish that. Keep that beyond when you go to college, when you go to different communities, because you all are stars, and you all are brighter everyone's life with your talents. Thank you.
Mr. Arzilla, anything, or Ms. Figueroa? We'll come down.
Congratulations, guys. Great job.
Congratulations and thank you to all of your parents too for all of their support. It does take a village.
I'm going to save the best for last, Mr. Scalacci, so I'll go. Again, well, first of all, you know my thoughts on drama. You all are part of my family, being that I have a graduate, right? But as you heard, the parents, what we don't realize is you guys, spend how many hours rehearsing? You're at, school till 10, 11 o'clock some nights. Your parents are Uber dashing and door dashing food and driving you. And we have our concession stand manager. Did you retire yet, Jen? No, she never will. Here, Philly pretzels, and all of that. But the parents too are supporting you, right? From voice lessons to acting lessons. and we have tech lighting. And I do know we had our stage crew here too. It takes a village, right? All of you. Thank you. You are amazing. You guys work maybe just as hard as anyone who gets those varsity letters. I think we need to look into that, Ms. Bosch. And we're gonna save the best for last, Mr. Strelacci.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I couldn't be more proud because, as you know, Jody's my daughter, so it's just amazing to me how these kids do, and I'm very happy for her and for the children. But I really want you guys to know, yes, you're going to get the parents come to see you perform, but when you get the town people coming to see you perform, I know I speak to them in ShopRite or wherever. Wow, look to the playlist. You're doing some kind of good place, I'll tell you. And I just think I don't expect anything better from you because I know you're doing such a great job here. Every time we go there, it's like I'm watching a Broadway play. You guys are just fantastic, from the stage crew to the sound crew to all you actors. So thank you so much. It's a great program. I'd like to thank my ex-son-in-law, Chris Bosch, what a son he does too. You know, I mean, it's a feeder program, just like our sports, middle schools, our theater program, and every year you guys seem to put on a terrific show. I want people also to one time, if you have time, go on YouTube and go on 2017 Broadway Night. You will be entertained like you thought you were on Broadway. It's one of my all-time favorites. But these guys have put on a lot of great shows, and you deserve the accolades that you've been getting. Thank you.
Yeah. So at this time, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into a brief closed session, allow anyone who doesn't want to stay for the entire meeting to depart. We want you to hear what we had to say, though. And with that, I'll take a motion. You guys have a song?
No, we really want that.
Yes. Now we can I pick? Because I might know them all right about now.
Come on, you guys can pick one.
We can't go into closed session until they sing us out.
Yeah, you guys, okay, we're gonna sit here till somebody sings.
Essentially our
You can sing in your seat, you don't have to get up.
Pick a good one.
Are we actually gonna see
It's gonna be a long night.
You don't want me to sing, it's been a long time.
Lincoln, you're in the
You
front.
want us
I
to
feel
start
like you
singing?
I think I was Bye Bye Birdie if you really want me to start going.
Your mic's yours.
No, I
You
think
guys
we stay
sing,
here
then
until
the
they
board will
sing.
sing.
That's not true. No, that's not true. I don't want that. I think they're good.
All right, we are good. All right, next time we will make note of that. I see you. And I think, P.S. I think our Rock and Roll Academy is coming down to school boards again, right? Yes. So, right? All right, with that, I'll take a motion then to go into closed session, very brief. Any conversation or opposition to closed session? Nope, we have a so moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are going into closed session. All right, do we have everyone? All right, I will call our meeting back to session. And we'll take a roll call, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Mrs. Fenton?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez? Here. Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Strelacci?
Here.
Mrs. Narcisse?
I am here, and welcome back, everyone. We definitely have cleared out. And we will go on. Do we have to committee reports? Curriculum and technology?
We did not meet.
All right, and personnel?
We did not meet.
And we have finance and operations.
And we did meet. We met today. In attendance was myself, Ms. Narcisse, Mr. Strelacci, and Mr. Orzillo. Take it away? Yes. Okay, just a couple highlights. A couple of things that you'll see obviously on action items tonight, one of which is the direct install happening at Sandshore. I just had to point this out. You guys, Mr. Miller worked very hard to find some opportunities with our direct install. Over there waving at the crowd. What's happening is it's going to be several dollars, an AC upgrade, new controls, rooftops, in-kind replacements at Sandshore. You'll see two different items, and on both of those, for example, the first one will cost $847,000. Out of that, we will pay $254,000, a discount of 70%. On the other, similarly, a discount of 67%. Glenn did a ton of legwork to find these discounts on those direct installs, so I wanted to point that out because it's phenomenal. One of the other things that happened this month is we took a look at we revisited our insurance benefits, and our current broker also did a ton of legwork and found a way to increase our coverage to make sure that we were at the proper levels and come in under budget. So really thankful for our provider for doing that, and for Ms. Schoening for working with them on that. Last item would be what I promised to all of you 2 weeks ago, is to come back on the legal fees, to report out on where we are. Last time we were together, obviously I told you that March and April were trending high, and that we had put several things in place to really try and make sure that we were doing due diligence and being proactive on that. Ms. Jones did a ton of work, as well as Mr. Geppert, really working together to figure out how to put some cost-saving procedures together. And I'm happy to report that in May we're back to our regular monthly spending levels, and we will obviously continue to monitor that. But I really appreciate Ms. Jones and Mr. Geppert and firm for working with us on that. Obviously we'll be monitoring it, but it's all trending in the right direction. Any questions?
Thank you for the finance committee for really working the tails off all the time. All the time. Even when you don't have a committee meeting, you guys are constantly working. So thank you, finance committee.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, and we will move on to policy and governance.
We did a meet.
Okay, and we move on. Any board subcommittees or parent-teacher association liaison reports? Anyone from any of our committees or liaisons? Nope, total silence? Okay. And from the president's report, I did want to introduce one new board member, and her name is Desi. Miss O'Neill, can you introduce Desi to us and explain who Desi is? And I think we need a name placard for Desi.
You want me to make her come out here?
Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot. Just so that I know that everybody has maybe possibly seen Desi, we can explain a
knows
little
you're
bit
saying
about
it.
our new friend. So Desi is a canine companion for a hearing dog companion, and Desi will be joining us at all of our board meetings with Mrs. O'Neill.
Yep, and for me at home, she will alert me to sounds, people calling me, the doorbell, alarm going off, things like that. At the board meeting, she's just under the table, and every once in a while I sneak her a treat. But she does look, when there are sounds, the fire alarm, she'll lay, so I don't walk, basically. and she'll keep alerting, like, there is a sound, but you can't go. She's very smart. She just turned 2.
She's so beautiful.
She's so amazing. The company is so amazing, and they're nonprofit, and they do lots of different service dogs, and they have puppy raiser. It's all run by volunteers, and they have campuses all over the United States, and it's a great fundraiser if anyone needs one to do. There's one in Long Island that's closer. For her, they only do hearing dogs. It's down in Florida, and that's where I went to their campus in Florida. But it kills me how she's just completely in touch with me. But she is an amazing dog. I mean, she's smarter than most people I know.
So we wanted to share and also introduce Desi, but also inform everyone as to why we have Desi here with us. And as well as when you approach Desi, please ask Mrs. O'Neill first if we can pet Desi.
Yes, you can pet her. I know a lot of service dogs you can't. You just have to meet her first, and then she sits and say shake, and she will shake your hand, and then you can pet her. Then she just knows she's not supposed to like get all sloppy, jump on you and things like that. So when she's like in a control position, right now she knows that I don't like standing in front of people and I'm shaking, and she is very upset that I'm upset.
Oh,
and that's why she's like that.
Aww.
And I'm fine.
But, oh, thank you. So I think we need a name placard for Desi.
I'd like to crawl under the table with her. You're saying hi?
And with that,
Shake?
I have nothing to say other than happy summer, everyone. I do have, before we go to public comments on action items, I wanted to make sure that I read several items into the minutes, so should the public wish to comment, they're aware of them ahead of time. So in finance, under action item, we will be adding 9.27. It is worded, award a contract to Weatherproofing Technologies, Inc. of Beechwood, Ohio for the roof and through wall flashing project at Mount Olive Middle School in accordance with contract ESCNJ 2324-30 in the amount of $621,173.44. And finance action item 9.28, whereas the EMO contract Article 9A6 limits the board's total liability for tuition reimbursement for the 2023 to 2024 school year to a total of $300,000. And whereas tuition reimbursement requests submitted by EMO staff members exceeded the contractual limit by $39,847.78. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby authorizes the business administrator to exceed the contractual tuition reimbursement limit of $300,000 by no more than $40,000. And be it further resolved that this authorization shall be considered a one-time allowance and shall not establish a precedent for future tuition reimbursement payments. And we have a couple other items, so you're going to have to listen to me read more. And in administrative action items, 10.5, resolution. Whereas on June 11th, 2024, the Mount Olive Board of Education Student Code of Conduct Committee held a suspension expulsion hearing regarding pupil ID number 650-19277, the student. And whereas on that date, the parent of the above referenced student and the student attended the hearing. And whereas the committee, after having heard and considered all of the proofs and testimony presented, and after considering the superintendent's recommendations, recommended to the full board that the student permitted to return to the school during the 2024-25 school year, subject to the terms of the RTI intervention plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board approves the student's return to school during the 2024-25 school year, pursuant to the terms of the student's RTI intervention plan. And be it further resolved that with written notice of the board's decision and his right to appeal shall be served upon the student's parents. And be it finally resolved, failure to abide by the terms of the intervention plan and other board requirements or the commission of further code of conduct violations may result in additional disciplinary action by the board and up to and including further suspension of expulsion. And we have item 10.6. Resolution whereas on June 24th, 2024, the Mount Olive Board of Education Student Code of Conduct Committee held a suspension expulsion hearing regarding pupil ID number 338278153 student. And whereas on that date, the grandparents of the above referenced student and the student attended the hearing. And whereas the committee, after having heard and considered all of the proofs and testimony presented, and after considering the superintendent's recommendations, recommended to the full board that the student be permitted to return to school during 2024-25 school year, subject to the terms of the RTI intervention plan and the completion of the psychiatric evaluation, assigned release to talk to the students' counselors, evidence of contact with Perform Care, and a behavioral plan meeting. Now therefore be it resolved that the board approves the student's return to school during the 2024-25 school year, pursuant to the terms of the student's RTI intervention plan and the aforementioned conditions, and be it further resolved that written notice of the school board's decision and the family's right to appeal shall be served upon the student's parents. And be it finally resolved that failure to apply the terms of the intervention plan and other board requirements or the commission of further code of conduct violations may result in additional disciplinary action by the board upon up to and including further suspension or expulsion. And I swear this is the last one, 10.7. Whereas on June 24th, 2024, the Mount Olive Board of Education Student Code of Conduct Committee held a suspension expulsion hearing regarding pupil ID number 59573733906 student. And whereas on that date, grandparents of the above referenced student and the student attended the hearing, and whereas the committee, after having heard and considered all the proofs and testimony presented, and after considering the student's recommendations, recommended to the full board that the student be permitted to return to school during the 2024 school year and subject to the terms of an RTI intervention plan and the completion of a psychiatric evaluation, assigned release to talk to the student's counselors, evidence of contact with Perform Care, and a behavioral plan meeting. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board approves the student return to school during 2024-25 school year pursuant to the terms of the student's RTI intervention plan and aforementioned conditions. Be it further resolved that written notice of the board's decision and the family's rights to appeal same shall be served upon the student's parents, and be it finally resolved that failure to abide by the terms of the intervention plan and other board requirements of the commission of the further code of conduct violations may result in additional disciplinary action by the board up to and including further suspension or expulsion. I think that's all. We are trying to close out this school year, as you can tell. Now we will open up the floor to members of the community. You may comment on any action item prior to the board discussion. Please state your name and address for the record. All comments must be respectfully presented. Abusive or obscene comments will not be tolerated. And please note, we will follow all rules. Please no excessive language. We will not go into personnel items. And the floor is open to anyone who would like to take the mic. Please state your name and address for the record.
Brian Gallagher, 135 Crenshaw Drive. Just a couple of questions on the bill list and then something that Ms. Fitzgerald touched on. With regards to your comments on the legal fees and the efforts being made, are you able to name what the board thinks is a reasonable amount, which is what you said the legal expenses can be brought down to, or are we just taking, we're just taking the board's word on whatever the number we get in the future is going to be what you think it is? Yeah. So nothing specific. Like the last attorney firm, they had a retainer, right? So it was about, what was it, $12,000 a month or $10,000 a month. So we bought that being the retainer amount. We're just not getting a number on what you think the best effort of success would be on reducing the number. It's just, it's going down, so we'll just trust the board on that. That's fine.
Can I just add? Absolutely. With the prior firm, the retainer was $1,750 a month. And that included I forget how many board meetings or in-person meetings.
Yeah.
That was
Mhm.
billed monthly. I think what Mrs. Fitzgerald was saying, when we looked at legal fees over several years and trying to come up with what an average would be, that's what she's referring to, that we're more on average spending. Obviously, we can't control who requests an Oprah or who requests an HIB or who, comes to us that the board needs to defend themselves.
Yeah.
We have no control over that, but, the procedures that have been put in place between, our offices and Mr. Gebbert's are procedures on how we're gonna handle answering an Oprah. We have a board secretary here who's extremely self-sufficient and very organized. She handles the majority as the custodian of records directly.
Yeah.
Mount Olive is one of, I think, 3 districts in the state who has a separate position of a board attorney, of a board secretary. So she's quite self-sufficient. So having a new attorney on board, there are some, they're used to dealing with their other clients in a certain way. We handle our a different way, so they organized on how they were going to be handled moving forward, which as a result lowers the amount of legal fees.
Yeah.
The amount of time that's spent, because Mrs. Jones can handle the majority of handling those requests herself.
Yeah, she does an amazing job. I think, on that. Yeah. Like, thank you for answering the question. Also, by the way, and I'm not trying to go and say that you weren't answering or anything like that, but I always appreciate an answer. I just meant like in the view of transparency for the public. I appreciate what you said, but a lot of it was very vague. Can you give, well, Ms. Shunning actually just did, one example on how this is coming to fruition, and I think that was a good example, so I appreciate that as well. I do think it's surprising, though, that, these were astronomical legal fees. And the only example I've heard, and it was just mentioned, was Oprah's. I mean, are we really saying that Oprah's caused legal fees to go up by 200, 300%? I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, why don't we just charge people for the Oprah's? I know that we don't, and a lot of places do. I don't.
We actually have sent invoices to some.
Good.
Some
Over
choosing.
some
Yeah,
threshold.
so we're taking that, making chip in that tens of thousands of dollars in Oprah fees, I guess. Yeah, okay. And I just want to point out too, as well, I appreciate that the board is making the efforts to lower the legal expenses, but I don't think it changes the fact that another administrative item tonight is to increase the legal budget fees by $120,000 for this budgetary year, 23-24, which is ending next week. So even with 1 week left, there's still some sort of need to increase the legal fees by $120,000, which I just think the taxpayers, deserve a little more answers than, I think tonight was probably a good start. It sounds like there's a lot of work being done on it, but I don't think you're there yet. And I think that, the proof will be when we see, future efforts and future, bill lists. So I appreciate what you said, and I appreciate the explanations, but I don't believe any of it yet. And I think there's a lot of people in town that feel the same way. I'm not speaking for those people, but if they want to say something, they can. And I just think it's pretty wild that this happened in the first couple of months. Bringing in a new attorney firm, which, we never really got an answer for. So thank you, Mr. Rosilla, for putting us up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars now that we've been paying for legal fees, where I think we had that problem in the past. Thank you.
Anyone else? May I just state for the record that this isn't a question and answer. It's, if you want to state something, you can, but we're not required to answer you, nor is it really an answer conversation. I didn't mean to be rude, but
Can I
this
just reply?
is
Can I
the purpose.
reply to that real quick? Are you saying that technically it's not question or answer, or are you saying that you don't have to answer it?
It's not, and we are giving you the courtesy of answering.
No, I agree with that, but if you're saying that I'm not supposed to be asking questions at all.
Oh,
then-
no, we want you to ask the questions,
Yes,
but
please
we shouldn't be answering you on the dais. We should be getting back to you with those.
And I fully understand that. I don't expect answers, but I have the right to ask as many
Oh,
questions.
absolutely,
And you have the right to
absolutely.
answer any of them, so it's very.
Absolutely, no, you have a right to ask
Did
anything.
answer them. But I just want to make it clear for other people listening.
Yes.
Oh,
They
yes.
can ask a
Absolutely.
question.
Public comment.
Yes, thank you,
That's what it's
is the
here
right.
for.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry about that.
Karen, if you
Camara, 133 Flanders Drigstown Road. I have neither a question nor a comment, just a suggestion. Maybe we could potentially stop paying the attorney to be here for our word ceremonies at board meetings, because we spend hours of doing that. And since we don't have a retainer for 2 meetings a month, which is what the old contract was, maybe we could stop paying him to hear our accolades. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak on action items and action items only? No? Okay, then we'll move forward on to approval of monthly expenditures and reports, items 6.1 through 6.8, and let's see, Ms. Melendez?
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I present a motion to approve the monthly expenditures and reports, section 6.1 through 6.8.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board? No, seeing none, we'll take a roll call, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Wherever the name Jody Bosch, abstain, yes, and everything else?
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes, and we'll move on to personnel action items. Mrs. Aquino, 7.1 through, oh my goodness, all the way to 7.39.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to move personnel action items 7.1 through 7.39.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, we will then take a roll call, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Abstain in 7.17 and anything related to Angela Sanchez, yes to everything else.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Abstain to anything related to Humphrey, Christian, or Patrick, and yes to everything else.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
I'm sorry, this is, what are we voting on right now?
Personnel.
7.
7.1 through 7.39.
Okay, so I'm going to have to abstain on a lot of the supervisors, positions and what have you. I'm not allowed to vote on personnel. So 7.5 through 7 point, wherever it is here.
0.39.
Yeah, I think I've got to go to a 7-11. I'm going to have to abstain yes on everything else.
And Mr. Strelacci, 7.5 to 7.11? you said?
7-11, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Not unless you want to go to Quick Check.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes to all items. All right, and we will move to curriculum and technology, action items 8.1 through, oh my gosh, 8.10, Ms. Fenton.
Yes, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to approve the curriculum and technology, 8.1 to 8.10.
Second.
And do we have any questions or comments from the board? Great. So we'll take a roll call then. Ms. Jones?
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And we will move on to finance and operations, 9.1 through, oh my goodness, 9. We added, right? 2.8, and Ms. Fitzgerald.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to make a motion to approve action items 9.1 through 9.28.
Second.
And do we have any questions or comments from the board? No? We'll take a roll call then, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
I will abstain on 9.13 and 9.14. 9.18 and 9.19, and yes to everything else. Okay. And we'll move on to administrative action items. It's 10.1 through 10.7, and we'll go to Mr. Urzillo.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to make a motion to approve administrative action items 10.1 through 10.7.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? No? All right, we'll take a roll call then, Ms. Jones.
Mr. Urzillo,
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci,
Staying on 10.1 and 10.3, yes, and everything else?
Mrs. Aquino,
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton,
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera,
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill,
Abstain from 10-1 and yes to everything else.
Mrs. Narcisse.
Should Mrs. O'Neill, should we add 10.3 as well to hers? Just want to make sure.
Oh.
No, I'm just asking. Hold on.
Administrator.
She good?
Uh,
We're good?
I would say yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Ms.
Okay.
O'Neill, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Just
Staying on.
protecting,
And Mrs. Narcisse.
yes to all. All right, we are on to old business. Do members of the board may comment on any item or topic that was previously discussed by the board. Do we have any items for old business? No? Okay. And then we'll move on to new business. Members of the board may introduce any new item or topic of discussion for the board to consider. Any items? No? Okay. We'll move on to public comment. Students, parents, employees, community members may comment on any item of interest pertaining to the Mount Olive School District. Please state your name and address for the record. All comments must be respectfully presented. Abusive or obscene comments will not be tolerated. Anyone who would like to come to the mic, please state your name and address for the record.
Oh, yes.
I'm there. I'm not. That always
There we
brings
go.
a laugh.
Hey,
I'm not
I mean, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you.
It's okay. We're unique.
You know, a lot of personality in a small package.
I hope so. Dear Madam President, members of the board, faculty and staff, honored guests, and those individuals live streaming. My name is Gita Vogel. I live at 48 June Grass Way, Panther Valley in Alamucci. I am the certified field rep for MOESA and have been for nearly 5 years. As such, I am appreciative of the Mount Olive District and consider myself an honorary member of the community. I am a huge fan of the district, appreciate the Board of Education and its mission, and proud of the students and their achievements, as was evidenced tonight by the drama group. Ostensibly, my purposes in addressing you this evening are for 3 main reasons. First of all, thank you to the negotiating team, first, and ultimately to the board for your kind considerations with respect to negotiating the MOESA contract for the next 3 years. I have said many times, MOESA is comprised of talented, professional, committed administrators whose #1 mission and pursuit is education of the Mount Olive student community. Obviously, you recognize those attributes as well.
My second reason, but certainly as significant, is to wish Glenn Miller much good luck in his new position. In full disclosure, I expected Glenn to be in this district he truly loved and still does, until he pushed the retirement button many years from now. However, things change, as do needs, and sometimes adventure beckons. Still, his unique and copious amount of knowledge makes him iconic. Thanks for all your support for Moesa, Glenn, and for always being the gentleman and role model so essential in a leadership position. Though, as you know, we all know, if you've been in a leadership position, how quickly it can be challenged. My third reason centers around reflections as to leadership. As a leader, 100 years ago, you can delete that. I respected the decisions of those around me, some on the leadership team who sought other positions outside my district. Imagine. Those supportive, I still reviewed the exit interviews carefully to determine if there was something I could have done differently. And a team is only as strong as the members view themselves as essential to the process of leading, as confirmed by those in command. I look at Moesa and the exit of several individuals within the past 5 years. I would expect that you would assess the culture and climate of the working community in a renewed effort to determine that the reasons for leaving center around personal choice for growth and not the working atmosphere. Accordingly, I am confident and reiterate this Board of Education, the Mount Olive Board of Education, recognizes the talent of its family of educators. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's a hard act to follow, but do you have anyone else who would like to speak? There we go.
That was very nice. She said something about the word. My name is Rich Miskowski from 1 Clawson Court in Bud Lake. She said the word gentleman. I think that is, in my mind, I'm old-fashioned. That is probably the best compliment that you could ever give to a man, is when you call someone says you're a true gentleman. So that's a big compliment. That's very nice. Need glasses on here. So I really don't want to be here. But I wanted to follow up on a couple things that I talked about a couple weeks ago. So, and as you know, from what I said before, I love this district. My son loves this district. He was up here. He wanted him to sing, but they wouldn't sing. I was the one with the big mouth in the back trying to get him to sing. But they didn't sing. So, but I really love this district. And so the stuff that I say here, I'm doing it because I care so much. Tiptoeing around stuff, so I'm not, my son has had a great experience here, so it's not a negative stuff, it's basically what I'm trying to do is what's best for him. Okay, so I'm just finishing up on some of the stuff that we talked about last week, and so As I said, I was really hoping to just be a spectator here tonight, but I'm pretty sure that this is the last Board of Ed meeting for a bit, so I'm here wrapping things up. I could be in Cape May, which is one of my favorite places. As a follow-up from a couple weeks ago regarding my son, Maddie, there's differences of opinion between myself and district as to what would best serve Maddie over the next couple of years. And again, there's a bigger picture here for everyone, not just Maddie. The district seems to think that Maddie belongs to the district in the Marauder Relief Program. I believe he would be better served out of district in the Randolph program. So we hit a bit of a stalemate. I have options, as we all do. I've asked for the district to reconsider the decision, and we're talking through that. Another option is that I could file due process, apparently, but that's a horrible process. It involves lawyers, time, money, stress. Not a very pleasant experience, which especially for the parents. So that's just a horrible thing to even think about. But it's an option, I guess, but it's not one that I want. Or I could move, and honestly, I really don't want to do that either. So as I said, we're a bit of a stalemate right now. The hardest part about this is that I've seen what's possible by looking at other programs. We really are comparing apples to oranges right now. The two programs are just completely different. I feel the program offers Maddie an opportunity to get really prepared for college and a certificate program. In life, we all look for steps, and this is a nice step in the right direction towards a bigger step to college. As I said 2 weeks ago, the 18 to 21-year-old transition program is the very last structured opportunity for our very special young adults. Not only for them, but for the parents as well. At 21, parents and their young adults face that cliff that I talked about. And to better define that cliff, the county and state take over. And it's up to parents to navigate the roads by themselves without being protected within the confines of a school district. My son is 18, and I am on top of this as much as I possibly can for him. I've been working towards this first step for a few years, and even though I've done a lot, I'm still missing pieces. The process is confusing and extremely overwhelming. So, in conclusion, a successful 18 to 21-year-old transition into life program is a program that is built on great leadership, vision, adaptability, and most importantly, student-centered. The student-centered approach focuses on knowing the student and building something around them, not vice versa. This program is our last bastion of guided protection before going out into the real world. As scary as it can be for young adults, it's so much scarier for the parent. It's my feeling that it's all of our responsibility to make sure that our young adults and their parents are beyond prepared for what lies ahead. Even if that sometimes means taking a good long look inward and realizing that a student is better served in another district. As I said, I love this district. We came here 3 years ago, and Maddie has really found a home. I found a home. And I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it was in his best interest. I have so much on my plate. This is not really something that I really want to do. So that's to go beyond that. If all of you don't know about the 18 to 21-year-old program, when I say it's the last bastion before going out into the real world, I really mean it. So I don't know how much each of you know about the program, but I would definitely tell you to take a look, to learn as much as you possibly can about it. And even more, to look at other programs to see what they're doing well and how they can better help parents. I met with a young man who just left the program today, or this year, from the Marauder Relief Program. And he's such a good kid, nice young man. And I'm gonna try to do something with him in my company, because I'm working on building like a sales force of special needs kids. My son, a young man with autism, another young man with autism, and maybe this young man, because they have such great personalities. They don't just tie things up and put things in a basket. I watched Maddie when we were down at Cape May earlier this week, and we went on the boat from Cape May to Lewis. And so I was on there, and he said, "I'm going." I said, "Oh, you're going to go. You can't go while he's on the boat." So I'm sitting in the upper deck, and I'm watching him, and he doesn't know I'm watching him. But he's talking to everybody. He knows that he's talking to these guys. He's introducing himself. I have no idea what he's talking about. The Lord only knows what he's talking about. interesting conversations for sure. But what I'm saying is we owe it to our kids to find out what their strengths are. Now, when you say special needs, automatically these kids, a lot of them are, you think all they can do is bag groceries when there used to be grocery bags at ShopRite, or they used to be, or put a widgets, or separate, or count stuff, or whatever. I got 3 kids, including the young man I met with today, who are great socially. They're great with people. I tell you the story about Maddie because I bring him into my customers with him. I've been doing this for years. And when I'm with my customers, I basically don't exist. So when we work with these kids, we find out truly what their strengths are, what they can do, who they are, and what they want to do with their lives, and also talk to their parents about what they want to do with their lives. We find out what they can do. The world is unbelievable. In closing, I'll say this. I'd be a good rich guy, by the way. I'd hire everyone. But in closing this, if I owned a restaurant, and because I've watched Maddie work, he's a great concierge host. You know, if I owned my own restaurant, I would have, and Danny used to be here in the school district. If I owned my own restaurant, I would hire those kids, and I would just put Maddie in a nice suit, which he likes to wear, put Danny in the, but you know, all these kids in nice suits, let them go over to the tables and say, hi, how are you? Thank you for coming. Can we get you anything? So, and that would be incredible because you know how far that would go within a restaurant or a business. So just think about it. When we're working in this 18 to 21 program, open up the world into the possibilities of jobs all the way out there. Help the parents find those jobs. Help the kids find out what they want to do. And as a district, we need to facilitate that for as much as possible. So, as I said, I love this district, I love the kids, I love everyone, what you guys are all doing, but I think it's important that we have to really make sure that we focus on helping this 18 to 21-year-old group. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Banta, with that, can we possibly charge you and your staff to evaluate with regards to the staff and the CNT committee, maybe a comparison of room for improvement and growth with regards to our, she's already written notes to comparison of the programs in the area and growth and engagement in the community as well.
And I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help.
And we're gonna, Chris is gonna be reaching out to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Benji, the really great, fantastic, wonderful transition fair at the Bog Center is open for registration for October. So if anybody can go, I went last year, it is amazing, love it. Gives a lot of information on new ideas, programs.
I got one more thing to say, I'm sorry. Just in finishing up, it's Rich Miskowski from One Plus Support again.
We're still go.
Where the kids are in the high school,
Location.
the location.
Mm-hmm.
You guys gotta do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta do something about that.
Tell me more
You
about that.
gotta do something about that. Because they can't be the basement. Those kids need to be places where there's windows, where they feel a part of the community, feel part of the school. So you gotta do something about that location, and I know that can be done, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Marini, Ramos Trail in Long Valley, also the CPAC president. To echo what Rich just said, the basement, you guys know I emailed, haven't heard anything, so let me know when I can tour. The other thing that like kind of just spawned a couple years ago, probably before Dr. Banji was here, even potentially right when Dr. Zawicki started, the special ed program was doing something through Rutgers called PCAST, and it was a person-centered approach for schools in transition. And in my opinion, that's something that probably should start when kids first get into high school, because it helped. It's a big team for everybody to discuss with the student to find out what was their drive, what they like to do, and honestly, that would be a beautiful way to help branch out to figure out what, are they into horticulture, are they into woodworking? Are they into different things that would help them facilitate their growth throughout the high school years to then transition for what, for the transition program? So anyway, I just wanted to share that because it's a big process, and I know that it's very labor intensive because I think that my son was one of the first kids that actually went through the whole process. However, it was really functional. It really kind of brought the whole team together to find out like what makes it tick, and I think it really would be huge. So that's my spiel about that. But I wanted to give you guys a little update about CPEG for the last couple months. So I apologize for missing the last month. But we did meet both in May and then twice in June. May, I don't remember all of it because I didn't write notes, but we did talk with the elementary programs and what was available and the staffing that was going to come on. It looked like some of that stuff shifted since the meeting that we had from the new hire list and everything. But we did talk about that. And then in June, we talked about the upper level, the secondary ed programs and what is going on in there. We had some really fruitful conversation with parents. One was about the location of the special ed program, which I shared with you guys. And then the other meeting that we had was to try to shed a light on what CPEG is, so that way we could try to get some new members. And so I did get a couple inquiries, not too many, but a couple. So I have to kind of figure out how we're going to navigate through the next season and figure out topics and so forth. And so we're still chugging along. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public who'd like to come and comment? No? Okay. We will close out public comment and we'll move on to board and administration comments. And I'm just going to start at the end. Mrs. O'Neill, any comment?
No.
Mrs. Fitzgerald.
I did. I wanted to say thank you to obviously Ms. Fumera, Mr. Gallagher for your comments about finance. I do appreciate it. Ms. Fumera, we have definitely discussed that as an option, and it definitely makes sense when we don't start in closed session and require legal representation. Totally agree on being very smart about when we require legal representation and when we do not. So I appreciate that. Mr. Gallagher, thank you for your comments. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I would say that, when we're providing a report on some of our meetings, we tend to speak in recap language. But please understand that us speaking in recap language doesn't mean that we are operating in, generalities, I will say. So we are really working hard to focus on specificity and due diligence to make sure that we are being very practical with all of the dollars for the district. Definitely for the meeting minutes so that you can see all of that specificity laid out for you. We just didn't want, to bore everybody with all of that, but please look for those. So that was my first thing. And then finally, a huge congratulations and thank you, and we'll miss you, to Glenn Miller, Mr. Glenn Miller. I believe this is his last meeting, and he will be sorely missed. I have only obviously worked with Glenn for not even a year, but the amount of money he has saved this district, the amount of due diligence he puts into making sure that we're doing everything we can to get the most out of our dollars, out of our facilities, it's really remarkable. And so congratulations on your next adventure, and we'll miss you.
Ms. Melinda.
Certainly, Mr. Miller, you would be missed. It's your familiar face, and you're always pressed to help anyone and to answer questions, which is not easy sometimes. I would like to extend my extensive gratefulness to Moesa for the negotiations, very professional, the collaboration, camaraderie, all those points that were so important for the administration were touched in a very delicate way and discussed. So I deeply appreciate the effort of Mr. Stansberry and Ms. Gita. So thank you so much. For the program for the 18 to 21, Mr. Rick, I'm very interested in that program also. I have been looking information, I certainly will not stop on that, because it's something that is very important. So probably in the future, I may reach out to you if I may, because we'd like to maybe compare even notes and the information that you already have available based on your research. Thank you.
Ms. McQueen.
I just want to tail on to Mrs. Melez's, the Moesa, but you left out Mrs. Curry, Miss Curry, so I want to thank Ms. Curry, Mr. Stansberry and Ms. Curry, yes. And I also want to say that I get to have the privilege now, moving forward, to work with Mr. Miller, and I expect lunch. So, I know where you'll be.
She'll be texting you.
So I'm sorry to see you leave, but I'm gonna be seeing you again.
My arms are this short.
I know.
What?
I
The
purposely
Swiss
wasn't gonna say that.
chalet. Swiss chalet. And Ms. Patton.
Glenn, don't forget she likes dessert too.
Swiss chalet. We all know Swiss chalet.
Has to have more than one course for Jen. Congratulations. We are going to miss you very much, Glenn. Best of luck to you. Congratulations to the drama. I'm so glad we got to have them here tonight to honor them. They deserve it. As far as special needs, one of the things that I have looked into, and I don't know if you know this, it's called Biddy and Views. All right, it's one of my favorite places to go. It is a coffee shop in Bethlehem that is run 100% by special needs. And it is amazing what they can do, like their abilities to manage, to sweep, to do the register, to converse. There is not one size fits all, and I would really like to look further into not making it as much that. So I am going to support anything we do as far as that goes, and I just want to wish everybody a happy start of their summer. I know I'm going down the shore tomorrow too. I can't wait. What? Oh, and Teamsters. I'm sorry, thank you. I know you guys didn't mention, and I'm glad to mention. I had the pleasure of working with you guys, and I want to thank you for everything we went through together. It was really a pleasure and an honor to be able to work with such a great group of people.
Agreed.
So thank you.
Agreed. Bring it over to Mr. Rosillo.
I just want to thank Mr. Miller. I didn't know you too long, but thank you for everything. It's an honor working with you. And good luck.
Ms. Figueroa?
Thank you for your service, Mr. Miller. Best of luck to you.
Mr. Malachi?
Yeah, first of all, Glenn, don't believe a word they're telling you. I think you're all happy you're going.
Rude.
I think I'm the only one here left who was here when we hired Glenn. And the first night I called him Tommy Dorsey instead of Glenn Miller for a different band leader. But you know, I've been down to conventions and I've talked to people. And Mark can tell you too, 9 weeks it takes in between. They're scampering to get the buildings ready to open in September. There's no time. These people are working their heads off. And yet, Mr. Miller, 1 year, several years, in addition to doing all of this work, which these other people in other districts can't believe, is getting a building renovated, is getting us moved over here, which was a tremendous job. And we never lost a single day. That is quite a tribute to that gentleman, and because of that, he was voted outstanding Director of Maintenance of the Year in the state of New Jersey. And that's quite an honor. So Glenn, thank you. I hope you come back and fly some planes for us or something, but I know you're going to do well wherever you go, and you know we're going to miss you, and keep playing that trumpet.
All right, I'll go last. Dr. Banjo? Oh, I was gonna let her go after you.
I'd just like to echo everyone's sentiment about Mr. Miller. Certainly, being here for 2 years, he's been an instrumental part of the team, and I can't thank you not only for your hard work, but most importantly for your friendship. He has really brought the love and passion for not only the job that he does, but the school community. And, you know, we certainly miss you and we wish you all the best.
Okay. I want to say I'm actually really proud of our contract teams for Moassa and Teamsters and also those who sit on the emo. We're a team, right? This is a whole district, and I think that really speaks volumes that we can all come together to the table to do what's, you know, best for our staff and at the end of the day our students and those in the community. I also want to say welcome to our new emo leadership, and we look forward to having a, you know, positive working relationship. I know that we've already, you know, had meetings, and you know that's really the goal, right? The kids at the end of the day doing what's best for them, and that means also making sure our staff are, you know, happy, healthy, and you know the contracts are what's best for both sides. So I'm really proud of them, everybody involved. I also wanted to say thank you to Ms. Melendez, my partner in crime. This past week, we got to venture down to New Jersey School Board Association's Law Forum. We'll be sharing that out to the board members in the email, so be ready to put your lawyer hats on. And I'm also really excited that we have the district last meeting approved for us board members to partake in training with Mr. David Nash as well, which is our HIP training. So, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing what's best, making informed decisions, and that we are fully educated as well. I also want to say congratulations to Michelle Richmond, 29 years retiring. Thank you. Thank you for serving our students safely. Mr. Miller, you're not going very far. And Swiss Chalet, she likes the cookies. But thank you.
The donuts.
Oh, donuts. Just send her with boxes of cookies, okay? Please. But thank you. Thank you for everything. And those who do come to the mic, please know that we do like to hear you. I think I've emailed some of you some, you know, responses. We do take notes as you see us writing. We do take your thoughts, your comments. You know, they are valued. So, Mr. Gallagher, please, while there are times we may not comment back and forth, we do look to improve and we do listen. So always please do come to the mic. Don't ever be afraid to. That's not, it's open public comment and question. So please do that. And, you know, Mr. Mikowski, you know, I adore Maddie, but again, we do take them, you know, your thoughts to heart. You know, and our drama club, those, if you didn't hear me before, drama club has a special place in my heart. I am an alumni parent of the drama club, but always part of it. Drama and music actually has driven my son to goal be a entertainment attorney someday. So, and that was found here in our district. He wasn't, you know, originally on that path, but entered our middle school and found drama, dance, music. And it was interesting. I was listening to Little Stevie on TV, and he was talking actually about other schools across the country that are cutting music and drama and arts programs. And, you know, when we look at students, it's one of the things that helps them thrive in, you know, another area, you know, utilizing their skills. And here in Mount Olive, that is not the case. We are growing and, you know, really value the arts here. So with that, please have a great summer. We'll see you at the next board meeting. And I will take a motion to go into closed session, and we will go into motion to recess the confidential session. Be it resolved, the board meet in confidential session for the purpose of discussing personnel, matters of attorney-client privilege. I'm just reading to see, do we have anything else? Do we have anything else on the agenda? Well, that would, yeah, personnel. Be it further resolved that matters discussed in confidential session be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken. And do I have a second to go into session? Second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, we are in closed session. Thank you.